Hello everybody, welcome back to Weekly Life Wisdom. And so far I've been your host, Zero Yeti, and it is the Caribbean special featuring animals from throughout the Caribbean and Central America. Let's go into it. The first animal week being the American flamingo. Also known as the Caribbean flamingo or the rosy flamingo, it is a large species of flamingo native throughout the Galapagos Islands, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Trinidad, Tobago, Mexico, Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, the Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, the Turks and Caicos Islands, Louisiana, Florida, Puerto Rico, Anguilla, Barbados, and Honduras, where they prefer to live in saline lagoons, mudflats, mangrove swamps, and brackish inland lakes, feeding upon algae, small seeds, and aquatic invertebrates, such as brine shrimp, fly larvae, various crustaceans, and mollusks, which they strain out of the water with their specialized beaks. American flamingos are themselves preyed upon by jaguars, coyotes, large hogs, large snakes, crocodilians, eagles, and wild dogs. Averaging 4 to 5 feet tall, they are the second largest species of flamingo after the greater flamingo, with males being heavier than females at around 6 to 8 pounds compared to females at around 4 to 6 pounds in weight. The plumage is a distinctive pink color with black flight feathers along the edges of the wings. It has a slender body and very long legs, a long flexible neck, and a small head. The flamingo's bill has a characteristic downward bend compared with its long legs. The American flamingo's feet are relatively small, with the front three toes being webbed. The American flamingo is a highly social species, often found in flocks of a few dozen to a few hundred individuals, and when migrating it's not unusual for several smaller flocks to group up together, forming a coalition numbering in the thousands. American flamingos have no set mating season, instead breeding is highly linked to rainfall levels, which must be high enough to provide an adequate food supply. The American flamingo is typically form pairs, but long-term trios and even quartets are regular occurrences, with all parents helping to build a volcanic-shaped nest where they lay a single egg that they then incubate for around 28 days. After hatching, the parents uh, care for their young for around 7 to 11 days, after which time the chick joins a creche with other young flamingos. American flamingos reach sexual maturity around 6 years of age, and they live upwards of 60 years. Next up is the Cuban gar, also known as the manjarari, is a large species of fish in the family Leptosidae, endemic to the islands of Cuba and Isla de Juventud, where they inhabit rivers, lakes, and brackish deltas, as well as seasonal floodplains, acting as high-level predators feeding upon fish, amphibians, crustaceans, small reptiles, small mammals, and waterfowl. Cuban gars themselves are occasionally preyed upon by both Cuban and American crocodiles, and the young are especially eaten by introduced largemouth bass. The Cuban gar is the second largest species of gar after the alligator gar, averaging some 3.5 feet in length and 100 pounds in weight, with exceptionally large individuals reaching upwards of 6.5 feet in length. It sports a cylindrical, torpedo-shaped body and elongated snout, which is typically olive or brown in coloration. Along with a robust gill system, it also sports a well-developed swim bladder that is attached to the throat, enabling the animal to use it as a primitive lung by gulping atmospheric oxygen, which allows the animal to survive even in warm, stagnant, oxygen-poor waters. Cuban gars are typically solitary and avoid other members of their species. The exception to this is that during the spawning season, when large parties around 20 gar congregate in the waters of seasonal floodplains and flooded rivers to socialize and mate. After spawning is over, the eggs, which are typically poisonous to most animals, are left to hatch in the tropical waters. After hatching, Cuban gar larvae undergo 3 stages of organogenesis and development, attached, which is days 1 to 3, traditional, which is days 4 to 10, and free swimming, which is days 11 to 18. Under ideal conditions, a Cuban gar may live upwards of 18 years. Next up is the collared peccary, also known as the musk hog, the quick, the javelina, the ciano, or the beccario. It is a species of aerodactyl mammal in the family Tassuidae, and are the only extant member of the genus Doclites. They are native throughout North, Central, and South America, as well as the Caribbean islands of Cozumel, Trinidad, and Tobago, from as far north as the southwestern United States to as far south as northern Argentina. A natural species, the collared peccary inhabits a wide range of habitats, including deserts, scrublands, temperate grasslands, tropical savannas, shrublands, Wetlands and tropical rainforests, as well as both tropical and subtropical dry forests, where they feed upon cactus, mesquite beans, insects, eggs, small reptiles, carrion, palm nuts, leafy green vegetation, fruits, roots, and tubers. Collared peccaries are themselves preyed upon by cougars, jaguars, crocodilians, Mexican wolves, coyotes, bobcats, bush dogs, and anacondas. Standing around 20 to 24 inches tall at the shoulder, measuring 3 to 5 feet in length and weighing 35 to 60 pounds, collared peccaries are typically diurnal creatures that live in groups of up to 50 individuals, led by a dominant male. However, these groups typically average between 6 and 9 members. They sleep in expansive burrows, often under the roots of trees, but sometimes can be found in naturally occurring caves. Interestingly, when in arid environments, they switch their sleep cycles and are typically active at night instead of during the day. Though a generally peaceful animal, they will react aggressively if they feel threatened, barking loudly, releasing a strong, foul-smelling musk, and defending themselves with their razor-sharp tusks. Collared peccaries have no set mating season, with the breeding being instead tied to resource availability. After a 5 to 6 months pregnancy, the mother gives birth between 1 and 4 young. And under ideal conditions, a collared peccary may reach sexual maturity around 18 to 14 months, depending on the habitat, and may live upwards of 30 years. Next up is the Hispaniolan solenodon, which is a species of solenodon endemic to the Caribbean island of Hispaniola, where they live in patches of moist forest below 3,300 feet in elevation throughout both Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Hispaniola solenodons are nocturnal, spending the day inside multi-chambered burrows, typically inhabited by an adult pair and up to 6 of their younger family members. After sunset, Hispaniola solenodons emerge into the open air, running around erratic, zigzagging patterns as they root around and forward throughout the forest underbrush, probing the earth with their snouts using echolocation to find prey in the form of arthropods, worms, snails, mice, and small reptiles. Solenodons also feed on fruit, grains, and leaf litter and are themselves preyed upon by feral cats, dogs, and introduced Asian mongooses. Measuring some 19 to 28 inches in length and 1.5 to 2 pounds in weight, they are the largest extant members of their suborder Socricomorpha. They sport a long nose, tiny eyes, thick whiskers, strong front legs, a long rat-like tail, and strong claws. Although they are somewhat variable in color, they are typically dusky brown over most of the body with a paler underside and reddish fur on the sides of the head, throat, and upper chest. Like other solenodons, Hispaniola solenodon is one of the few venomous mammals on Earth, and venom is secreted by the submaxillary gland and then flows through narrow tubular channels located on the lower second incisors. Said venom is strong enough to severely injure dogs and kill mice and other rodents in as little as 2 minutes. Breeding occurs throughout most of the year, although females are receptive only for short periods, once every 10 days or so. After an 84-day pregnancy, the mother gives birth between 1 and 3 young, which are dependent on and carried by said mother for the first few months of their life. Under ideal conditions, the Hispaniola solenodon may live upwards of 11 years. Next up is the American crocodile, which is a species of crocodile found throughout the Caribbean, North, Central, and South America, from as far north as Florida to as far south as Peru. Here they inhabit brackish lakes, mangrove swamps, rivers, lagoons, caves, small islands, and are the only crocodilian species other than the saltwater crocodile to commonly live and thrive in the ocean. The bulk of their diet consists of fish, crustaceans, especially crabs and sharks. But they are also known to regularly feed upon birds, turtles, lizards, snails, insects, frogs, and mammals up to the size of cows. Males are typically larger than females, reaching 10 to 13 feet in length and 500 to 850 pounds in weight, compared to females at around 8 to 11 feet long and 200 and 400 pounds in weight, with exceptionally large individuals reaching upwards of 15 feet in length. Like all true crocodilians, the American crocodile is a quadruped, with 4 short, stocky legs, a long, powerful tail, and a scaly hide with rows of ossified scutes running down its back and tail. The snout is longer and narrower than those of the spectacled caiman and the American alligator, but wider than that of the Cuban, Morlets, and Orinoco crocodiles, all of which the American crocodile shares its range with. Adults have a uniform grayish-green coloration with white or yellow undersides, while juveniles have a dark crisscrossing banding on the tail and back. American crocodiles breed in late fall or early winter, engaging in drawn-out mating ceremonies of which males emit low-frequency bellows to attract females. In February or March, gravid females will then begin to create nests of sand, mud, and dead vegetation along the water's edge, wherein she will lay 30 to 70 white elongated eggs, which will hatch after 75 to 80 days in incubation. The mother will then aid the hatchlings in escaping their eggs and scoop them up in her mouth, carrying them over the closest water source, wherein she will carefully guard them for the next several weeks of their lives. Under ideal conditions, an American crocodile may live upwards of 70 years. Next up is the Puerto Rican Amazon, also known as the Puerto Rican parrot or the incucaga. It is a critically endangered species of parrot belonging to the neotropical genus Amazonia, and is the only extant parrot endemic to the archipelago of Puerto Rico. A social species, they inhabit old-growth tropical rainforests between 1,300 feet and 2,700 feet in elevation, traveling in pairs or small family flocks as they feed upon flowers, fruits, seeds, leaves, bark, and nectar. Puerto Rican parrots have several natural predators, such as peregrine falcons, red-tailed hawks, and pearly-eyed threshers, but are especially affected by invasive predators such as black rats and Indian mongooses, which regularly hunt and kill parrot chicks. The Puerto Rican Amazon typically measures around 11 to 12 inches in length and 8 to 11 ounces in weight. Both males and females predominantly sport green plumage, with the primary flight feathers and covert feathers of the wings being a dark blue. The underparts are paler and yellow tinged, their foreheads are red, and they have white ovals around their eyes. The iris itself is brown, and the bill is a horn color, with the legs being yellowish tan. Like other parrots, the Puerto Rican Amazon usually mates for life, with pairs only changing mates if one bird perishes or abandons the nest. The pairing process is unknown, however new pairs tend to participate in mutual mating dances, characterized by coordinated bows, partial extension of the wings, and full tail expansion. Puerto Rican Amazon is a secondary cavity nester, nesting in tree cavities some 20 to 50 feet off the ground. They can nest in both naturally occurring cavities or cavities excavated by other species, and use said cavities as protection against predators and elements. Mating occurs in the dry season sometime between January and July, after which the female lays 2 to 4 eggs that she exclusively incubates for a period of 24 to 28 days. After hatching, the chicks are fed by and raised by both parents and fledge around 60 to 65 days. However, they remain dependent on their parents and travel with them until the next breeding season. Under ideal conditions, Puerto Rican Amazons reach sexual maturity around 3 to 4 years of age and may live upwards of 50 years. And our extinct animal of the week is the Caribbean monk seal, also known as the West Indian seal or the sea wolf, is a species of seal native to the temperate, subtropical, and tropical waters of the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the western Atlantic Ocean. They are now believed to be extinct, with the last confirmed sightings occurring in 1952. Reaching upwards of 8 feet in length, anywhere from 375 to 600 pounds in weight. They sport an elongated, robust body, short floor flippers, and a distinctive face. The head was rounded with an extended broad muzzle, equipped with large, wide-spaced eyes, upward opening nostrils, and big whisker pads with long, light-colored, and smooth whiskers. Their coloration was brownish and or grayish, with the underside being lighter than the dorsal area. Adults were darker and more pale than the yellowish younger seals. Caribbean monk seals were also known to have algae growing on their pelage, giving them a slightly greenish appearance, which is a similar phenomenon that happens in Hawaiian monk seals. In life, Caribbean monk seals prefer to inhabit shallow lagoons and coral reefs where they fed upon fish crustaceans, hauling out and resting in mass congregations of 20 to 40 individuals along the sandy beaches of isolated and secluded atolls and islands. After first being discovered by Europeans in 1494, the seals almost immediately began being slaughtered for their meat and oil, with monk seal oil being regularly used to fuel lamps and lubricate plantation machinery. By 1850, so many seals had been killed there were no longer sufficient numbers for them to be commercially hunted. The final nail in the coffin for the Caribbean monk seal was mass overfishing and destruction of much of the Caribbean's reefs, leading to untold numbers of these seals to starve. Surprisingly, little conservation measures were taken towards attempting to save the Caribbean monk seal, and by the time it was placed on the endangered species list in 1967, they were likely already extinct. In 2008, the species was officially declared extinct by the United States after an exhaustive 5-year search. As always, take care to my guys, gals, non binary pals. Have a great day.